Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video of Marvel Contest of Champions. Today is 7.4.6 easy path for completion, and we're gonna attempt the Smorgasbord Bubble Shield Path along with Foresight. Now it starts with Hercules and ends with Warlock, and the nodes are pretty straightforward for Smorgasbord. Every time you attack an opponent, you give them a debuff, they will purify it and they will store it with them for 30 seconds. At the end of 30 seconds, if you have more than 10 debuffs or stored on the opponent, they will go into a degen, and if it is less than 10 debuffs, they will get a regen there. And Bubble Shield is each time attacker blocks an attack, their block proficiency reduces by 2, and after the 10th hit, the defender goes unblockable for 1 hit. And Foresight is whenever you will intercept the opponent, you will get 200% extra attack rating for 5 seconds. Now the best options here are going to be champs with quick debuffs. So I've listed quite a few here. These were my MVPs, so you can choose from them. They will make the path significantly easier. If you have a Magneto, bring him. He's a very good MVP for this path. The boss is going to be a Kang with different nodes on him. We're going to attempt the Kang with no nodes, and we're going to discuss all what his slipstream charges and how we get him to a wounded space and how we take him down later in the video. So make sure to check that out. And before we jump into the path, guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notifications. All of that really helps me out a lot and helps me grow the channel. And I would highly suggest you use non-suicides. If you have your suicide, turn them off, because Kang is going to be annoying with them. So the first fight is going to be against a Hercules. Now pretty straightforward fight. Hercules does not have any difficult thing to offer. The only thing you need to take care about is on the top right you see a timer with the number 2 on it. Once you do apply different debuffs on him, that will be stored. We have to make sure we do at least 10 of them. So I've brought in a Black Widow Clairvoyant for this fight. Now the good part of Black Widow Clairvoyant, you don't have to make contact with the opponent. You can just charge a heavy and that will apply 3 bleeds or 3 poison or 3 incinerate depending on what phase you are. So Black Widow Clairvoyant is a really good champion for this path. Other ones that work really well here is going to be a Nick Fury. His SP1 puts like 7 or 8 disorient debuffs at the same time, so one SP1 can take you above the threshold. Same goes with Silver Surfer with his heavy attack, and also Sunspot along with Human Torch and some good options. Same goes here. Like other good options for the path are going to be Black Widow Deadly Origin. So it's a pretty straightforward path. I'm just gonna fight through Hercules and throw my SP2 with an intercept so I can get more heals if you lose your health. So Black Widow Clairvoyant is very versatile and very good for this path. So you can just kill off Hercules, just take care about his immortality, and everything else should be fine. Next defender is going to be a Dr. Octopus. He's quite annoying because of his very quick animations. I am using a Magneto. All I'm going to do is to build up to 40 prowess charges, and I'm gonna try and intercept before I throw my SP3 so I can do more damage. And also I will try that the Smorgasbord timer is also up. It's not near completion, so I don't miss out the hell. But anyway, because Dr. Octopus is a metal, even Smorgasbord is activated, the heal will be stopped. So pretty easy with Magneto. I've also done this fight with Nick Fury and also with Black Widow Deadly Origin. They work really well also. I've also tried this fight with Captain America Infinity War with all the synergies that give him all those debuffs. So quite a few different options you can use here. So just find the one team that works for you and you can go through it. I am just going to build to an SP3 with 40 prowess charges, do an intercept and throw an SP3, and that would be it for Dr. Octopus. Next one up is going to be an Odin. Now with Odin, he is also a metal champion, so I'll do the similar thing with Magneto, trying to keep as much champions alive before I get to Kang, so I can use all of them on him. So Magneto is like an MVP for this path. Also Black Widow, that the origin works pretty well for the path as well, and Nick Fury just shreds through all of this as well. So different champions you can work here. I've also done this fight with Black Widow Clairvoyant. She also works pretty well with all of her debuffs. So it's all about slowly picking your enemies apart. Magneto just makes shorter work of the metal champion, so I'm gonna bring him, build up to 40 prowess charges, and then intercept as soon as I have 4 side attack fury, increasing my damage. I will throw an SP3 and kill him off. The next defender is going to be a Yondu. Now Yondu, you need to be careful whenever he will throw a light attack in your block. He might put a bleed on you, so you have to parry him when he's charging in. But the problem is that even the stun will be removed because of Smorgasbord. It will be purified, so you need some good intercepts here. I am using Black Widow Clairvoyant and also always keeping Yondu to SP1. As soon as he throws an SP1, I will go back in and then try to intercept when I have an SP2 and throw that SP2 that does a lot of damage. So 2 SP2s, you should be able to kill Yondu off. Not really difficult once you have 1 bar of power on him, and then you can just take him to a corner and just keep hitting 4 hits, swipe back, go for intercept. Whenever he'll have an SP1, let him throw that out. So you should be able to do this fight quite easily. If he does not have an SP1, just try to hit him in his block and push him to an SP1, and then you can go in if you need an opening. If you're not using a bleed immune champion, if you are using a bleed immune champion, then you can just stand there, let him throw his medium attacks and light attacks. When he throws a heavy, then it's your opening and you can go in and kill him with that. Otherwise you will have to go with intercepts and also hitting in the block to give him an SP1, and then an opening will come along. Next up is going to be a Silver Surfer. Now again, he is a little passive on his AI, so if you're using a Black Widow Clairvoyant or Silver Surfer, he will give you a quite opportunity to just stand back and throw your heavy, so you can apply those debuffs just right there. So you can play slow this fight, and you can also bring somebody like Black Widow Clairvoyant or Nick Fury or Sunspot and be hyper aggressive. So it's your choice. Also Captain America Infinity War with the right synergies will work here as well. So quite a few different champions that work. I am just trying to use 1 or 2 champions to get to the boss and have most of my team alive, so I can put all of them out to work against the boss. So again, very simple, just Using a Black Widow Clairvoyant, I will just use my heavy attacks standing back, so I can make sure that all the time there are 10 charges on Smorgasbord, and then when I am gonna throw my SP2 on to heal, I'm gonna make sure that I intercept first, because I need that foresight to do for the extra damage and the extra healing. Now this is an annoying fight against Warlock before the boss that is going to be the last opponent. Because of his transmute virus and also heal block, he can be really annoying, especially if you're running willpower and suicide. So I would suggest you, if you want, you can remove it, but Magneto is not really affected because the transmute virus is removed for the number of buffs you have, the duration is reduced, and Magneto usually has a lot of buffs because of prowess. So Magneto is a perfect counter for this fight. Just build up to 40 prowess charges, land an intercept and throw an SP3, and you should be able to kill him off. Other champions that I've used to beat this fight is Angela, and I've also used Captain America Infinity War with all the synergies, and also Silver Surfer works really well here. So you can choose anyone and finish it off, and let's jump to the main event that is going to be the Kang boss. Now jumping on to the Kang fight, first of all we need to understand what are slipstream charges and how do you get them. There are 4 different ways you get those charges, and you need to get at least 10 of them. Once you have 10 of them, then you can put Kang in a wounded state and you can try to kill him. There are different nuisances to every phase. We'll discuss that one by one, but before that, let's look at each and every opening and how you can get the slipstream charges. So the first one is going to be with a parry. So all you do here is you just parry Kang and you try to hit him, but because of his mechanic he will dodge it and he will throw a beam at you, and once you dodge that beam you will get a charge on you on the top left of the screen. That is a slipstream charge. So that's how you get charged when you try to use a parry on Kang. You will notice that there is an icon on the top right that shows that the last action you've used. That will come in really handy for you, and we will discuss it after we go on to the next slipstream charge. Now, as we have an understanding of the slipstream, the next way you can get a charge is going to be with a heavy attack. So all you need to do is to block and let Kang hit into you and let him throw a heavy attack. Once he does, you can intercept that, and once you do intercept it, he's gonna dodge you, he's gonna throw a beam. All you need to do is to either parry or dex the beam, most probably dex it, and then you can get another slipstream charge on you as being shown in the video. So that is how you get a slipstream charge number 2, opening number 2. Now the third way you can get a charge is through a special attack dodge, but I will always suggest you to keep to SP1 only, and if you dodge completely all 3 beams you get 2 charges instead of 1, so that is also really helpful. So just on the screen I'm showing you how to get that slipstream charge and how to dodge the SP1. And the final slipstream charge is going to be pretty straightforward. This is going to be with intercept. You just go in, you try to intercept Kang, and once you do, he is going to dodge you and throw a beam that you dex, and you get a slipstream charge. So these are all the 4 ways you get your slipstream charges, and you need to get 10 of those charges so you can wound Kang and you can start hitting him so you can get through all of his phases. So now we have the understanding about the slipstream charges and the wounded state. Let's talk about the phase 1, 2 and 3 and 4. We'll discuss it more detail in once I go into the fight, but one thing you need to know: in phase 1, try to bring in champions that have unique buffs on them. For every unique buff, Kang will take extra damage, 30% on him during wounded phase. In phase 2, it's all about your unique debuffs, so bring champions that have unique debuffs and that will do extra damage to Kang. And phase 3 is just each buff on the attacker will give extra damage to Kang, and phase 4 is any kind of debuff will give extra damage. So keep that basics in mind. Everything else we'll discuss more detail once we go into the phase. You can pause the video and check this out, and we will jump into the fight. Before we do 2 things you need to remember: the archive and the warning. The archive is that whenever you will use a debuff or a buff in front of Kang, he will store that in his memory and he will use it against you. And the warning is, if you're gonna use one of the opening slipstream, if you use a parry, do not use the parry on the next one. If you use a heavy attack, you do not use the heavy attack on the next one, because Kang will see through it and he will give you a stun and he will start attacking you and you will take damage and you will die. So having said that, everything is out of the way. Let's jump into the fight and look at it one by one. So jumping onto the fight, always like to start with a parry so I can get a slipstream charge right away. Then I like to wait for him to throw in a heavy attack and block me. Once he does that, I can go in again and get another slipstream charge, or I can push him to an SP1 there. Now I would suggest you not to do intercepts on the first phase, because that is going to be a little bit hard for you and a little bit annoying, because he can easily start hitting you again. So my suggested slipstream openings is just there at the bottom of the screen. Go for a parry, then keep blocking, let him come and use a heavy, and then you go into it again, because here you don't have the compulsion that you cannot repeat the last 2. If you're parrying, you just do not need to parry again. If you baited a heavy from him, you do not need to bait a heavy again. So it's only 1, so you can go with the simple rotation of parry and then let him bait a heavy, and then when he does get an SP1, you can dodge that and you would be able to get to 10 slipstream charges in no time, and then you can just start hitting him. Now granted, a human torch is a cheat code for this fight. If you have a human torch, I would highly suggest you to bring that. If not, Venom Pool is a good one here as well, also Hercules, and I have brought in a synergy with Odin, so that is giving me unique buffs. So if you have an Odin, bring him in. Otherwise, human torch can do it on his own as well. I've done it in one go in one wounded state. It might cost you to go with 2 or 3 wounded states, but it depends on what champion you bring in. Now jumping into phase 2 is the same thing. The only difference here is that he's gonna take extra damage during the wounded state by 30% for every unique debuff you have on him, but other than that, everything is the same. So I would suggest you do the same thing: parry, try to hit him, he will give you a slipstream charge, then just keep blocking and let him come and throw a heavy attack. Once he does throw a heavy attack, you can go back in and also get another slipstream charge, and you can go back to a parry again. Just stay with parry and heavy slipstream charges, and when he does get to an SPM, let him throw that. You can also hit him in his block to create some space if you need that, but the SP1 with a little bit of practice you will get there, so you will be out of phase 2 also in no time. That wouldn't be a problem. The one more thing is when he will throw that beam after evading you, that is going to be in 3 different speeds: regular, slow and fast forward. So just keep an eye on that. It might take a little practice. I'll be honest with you, full disclosure, I fought Kang the fourth time when I got the timings down, and then I was able to bring him down, and that too not a solo. So it's okay if you fail. It's very normal. You will see plenty of failures from me and in phase number 4. So Human Torch melts him away. I wasn't able to get him down in one wounded state, so I have to wound him again in the second phase. So I'll let you guys have a look at that, and if you have any questions, leave in the comment section. I will explain them in more detail. Now phase 3 is where everything gets more interesting. So one that now when you get a slipstream charge, now Kang keeps a memory of 2 of them, so you cannot go back and forth with only 2. You have to change it up. So first thing I would suggest you is to know all of the icons of your charges. I've mentioned them in the video. Make sure to check them on the right side. Now what I like to do here, I like to go for a parry first. Once I have the parry slipstream, then I like to go for a heavy one and let him throw a heavy and get a slipstream charge for that. And when he goes back, I try to hit him in his block. Now one of 2 things happens. Either he goes to an SP1 and he will throw an SP1, or he will try to charge me and I can intercept him. Either way I will get another slipstream charge. But if you take the intercept before that and you try to hit him to go to an SP1, he's gonna that's gonna trigger the intercept again and it's gonna give you your stun. I hope that made sense. So to keep it very simple, go for the parry first, then go for the heavy attack bait from him, then go for the intercept and SP1, and once you have all of them down, then you can start from the beginning. I found this rotation working really well for me. You just need to do 2 rotations and you will be at 10 slipstream charges and you can easily melt him away. If you have brought in an Odin synergy with like a Venom Pool or Human Torch, only 1 wounded state will be enough to kill him off from this phase 3, and you will jump into phase 4. Another difference that's going to happen here is going to be his specials. They're going to be at different speeds, so keep an eye on that as well. And then the final time he's going to gain all of his health back and he's going to get back into you. Now here, whenever he will throw a slipstream charge, you will notice that he will show you slow motion, either fast forward or regular speed, so you have to dex accordingly, otherwise it might be a problem. Now that's 1 second. Again, for the slipstream openings, I would suggest you to follow the same way. Go for a parry, then go for a heavy bait, then go for an intercept into special. So that will work really well. You will only need to do it like this rotation twice and you should be at 10 slipstream charges. So just be very careful about that. Another thing, when he will throw a special here also, that will also go into 3 different speeds. That is going to be fast forward, regular and slow. So with a little bit of practice you can get that. I would suggest you that when he does throw in fast forward, do not dex, just block the first 2 beams and dex the final one, and in the slow you can just keep swiping back and most of the times you can just get it done. So that is how you deal with the specials. Also in this phase he will become immune to cleanse and purify as well, so that's something to keep in mind. But again, this phase is good for champions who have any kind of debuffs that can be applied. With every debuff, the Kang takes extra 30% damage on wounded state. Now I do die here a lot, and I really slowly bring him down. Just on my final champion, I did manage to do all of this without using any resources, but again, it required a bit of practice. So if you don't get him down the first time, that's okay guys, try over again and you should be able to get him. The path that we have chosen, Smorgasbord, I feel it's the most easiest one because it's because of Magneto, and also it does not give any new node to Kang, so you can just deal in him in his vanilla version. So I hope that helps guys, and all of this video helps you out. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you for joining me for the 7.4 easy paths for completion. I'll be working on the infographic next before I start doing all of those exploration videos, so please be with me on the journey, and I will just upload a crystal opening video from this rewards I got. So everybody, good luck with your crystal openings, and I'll see you next time. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.